Okay guys, in today's video we're going to be doing network and internet protocol training, and this is going to be unusual from all the other training programs out there that I've seen. I've been doing this kind of stuff for a while, and when I look back on it, the demo that I'm going to give you now, it would be if I could go back in a time machine and give myself a class when I first started. This is what I would want to know, because like everyone else, when you jump into the networking and that whole computer world, it's so complex and there's so many directions to go in, and everything seems to be interrelated and like a secret club that's hard to break into. And just like with math, where you should absolutely get your addition and multiplication, all of that down solid before you try to dibble into any other types of math, because without those solid foundations, you just get more and more confused the deeper you go, and get more and more hindered by the fact that instead of being honest and not admitting that you don't know what's going on, your head tries to fill in ideas and comes up with theories about how things might work, just because it doesn't like the empty box problem. So this is my attempt to address that with the simplest type of communication you can possibly do, which is using just two computers and a single cable network, which consists of just 4 wires. It's just a crossover cable, and it is without any of the other router switches or any of the other equipment that's normally associated with networking. I wanted to not use any of that stuff to start off with, so that we get the protocols solidly fixed about how the devices talk, even if they're just hooked up directly with a couple of wires. So that's going to be my direction on this. And how I'm going to do this is I'll be using the ping function to ping from the laptop here and back and forth between the two computers. And when it is doing the little pinging back and forth, we'll look at it with a program called WireShark. And what that'll do is it'll actually type out in text you can see the actual packets going back and forth, so that you get an idea. You get rid of all the magic of what is going on and see literally step by step what's taking place. And because it's a router or a network without any equipment, it's the best thing to use when you're starting out exploring WireShark. Because if you start using WireShark and you go to look at, let's say, a real internet connection, it is just flooded with data. It's just overwhelming, and there's no way to kind of go easily into that stream. And there's so many distractions and so many complexities that it's not worth it. So we're going to start off this way, keeping everything extremely simple. And then once I go through that process of the back and forth, on the next video, I'll get into the very specific things that we need to understand in order to use Telex devices in CSoft consoles. So, but I'll get into the details here as we go along, and we'll finish up with a summary. So stand by. Okay, when we look at the basic setup here, when the one computer is sending data to the other, it sends it out the RJ45 connector on the network interface card also called the NIC. And what happens is the crossover cable simply takes the transmit wires and moves them over to the receive wires on the other side, and vice versa. So they can hear each other directly without hearing anyone else. Now, when you look at this data, when I talk about the data that's going out, these are the Ethernet packets. And when I say packets, this is what I'm talking about. It is just a burst of data. It's zeros and ones that it puts out on the wire, and those zeros and ones are translated at the other end to make sense of what's going on here. But these are what they look like if you got an oscilloscope out and look closely at the signal here. If you, like I said, put an oscilloscope here, and that's why I'm slowing it down when we're doing our test here to 10 megahertz, megabytes per second, so that you can, if you have a storage scope and you're interested in looking at those packets, you can hook onto here and capture one of those coming across so that you can look at it. But anyway, these two devices, when they're sending the data back and forth, how they identify each other is very specific. And let me pull up that. What happens is that each network interface card has a very unique number. It's supposed to be unique across the whole world if everyone plays fairly, and it's called the MAC address, which stands for the Media Access Control Address. And it's very similar, like a cell phone, to the MEIA number on a cell phone. It's supposed to be, like I said, unique to that device. And then the IP address that is given, that's something that can change randomly to anything that you want. But I'm giving that as its nickname or its street name. But the thing that's I think the most important concept of all when it comes to the networking protocol and how these things talk is that if you're a network interface card and you're sitting there plugged in and you have the wires connected to you, the only things that you will recognize is anything that comes addressed with your official name, your real name, your MAC address, or all Fs, which is the equivalent of hey everybody, attention, I got something to say to the whole group. So this is a critical concept to understand, is that whether you're talking to your switch or router or just any other individual computer or device, you either know its real name, its MAC address, or you don't. And you can't talk to it directly until you know its real name. And if you don't know its real name, you have to ask. And that's called an ARP command, Address Resolution Protocol. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But this is this is the key to the entire system, is knowing how with each step along the way, each device must know the other device that it's talking to's individual MAC address, and that any other information coming in will be ignored. So if this NIC card has IP address of this one, 100.125 here, and a packet happened to come in, and within that packet is this address saying 172.19.100.125. It doesn't matter, because the network when the let me find the packet. Here we go. So at the very beginning here, if it doesn't see that exact MAC address, it'll ignore whatever comes afterward. It'll pay no attention to it whatsoever. So if it doesn't see all F's or its name, no matter what information is contained later on, like the IP address would be, it's going to ignore that, and it will not do anything with that at all. So that's a big concept to get in when you're learning this. So let's go on now, and we'll do the setup to get the computers programmed so that they're ready to ping back and forth. I'll go over that, and then we'll do some pinging, and we'll look at it with WireShark and talk some more about it. So stand by. All right, let's get the computer set up to do the ping test. There's just a couple things we need to turn on and set up. So the first one is in the Windows Defender firewall. So we'll bring that up, and we want to go over to Advanced Settings, and then we want to go to our inbound rules, and we want to scroll down until we see file and printer sharing echo request, and we're going to do the ICMP v4s, and what we want to do is we want to enable that rule, and we're going to do the same for this one. So both the domain and the private and public networks are now allowed for pinging, and we're going to come over here and do the same for the outbound rules. And if you're paranoid about it, you can always go back and turn it off when you're done, but it's kind of a new thing with Windows 11. Up until Windows 11, those came defaulted enabled, but now they're defaulted disabled. So, but anyway, once you get that done, you can just close out of Defender, and you can go back into the control panel again, and this time we're going to go into System, and we're going to come down to Network, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom where it says Advanced Network Settings, and then we're going to come here to where it says Ethernet, and we're going to scroll down, and we want More Adapter Options Edit. And this will bring up our Ethernet properties over here. So we're going to do two things here. We're going to turn off IPv6 because it's too confusing. And in IPv4, we're going to go into the properties, and this is where we're going to select the use the following IP address. And you'll go ahead and enter in this static IP address with a subnet mask of 255.255. We're going to have no gateway. And once you get that entered, just go OK, and we're going to go close. Now we have to do something else in there, but they won't allow you to do it at the same time. So we're going to go back and hit the same button again. And this time we're going to go up into the configure of the controller itself. And we're going to go over to the Advanced tab, and we're going to scroll down to where we see Speed and Duplex. And we're going to change that from auto negotiation to 10 megabytes per second full duplex. And we'll go OK. And then we can get over here after we got that and close out. And now we're all done setting up the computer so it's ready for the test. Now you'll have to do this same procedure on the other computer. And if it's a Windows 10, the device, you might have to get to the device menu a little bit differently, but it's basically the same. It looks the same once you get there. So, all right, there's the computer setups for it. So let's continue on. Okay, guys, we're set up now to do the test. I have the command prompt screen over here, and we have the ping command ready to launch. I've brought up the WireShark program to look at, and we're going to go ahead. This is the initial screen that you're going to get, and we're going to go ahead and select our Ethernet port and start to monitor it. And we'll come back over here and launch our ping, and we can see our ping goes across, and we're all done with that, and we're all resolved over here. So let me stop the capture there, and real quickly here to look at what we have going on with this one. We see that we basically said hello to the other computer 4 separate times, and it replied each time, and without any loss or problems. So we'll go ahead and minimize that, and now let's take a look at the WireShark program, and you'll see something very important, which is when we look at the very initial talking that these things do. They want to find out what each other's secret private name is, its MAC address. And I wanted to show you a sequence here of what's going on to explain that initial line. And what's going on is inside the computer there is a logical section that is in charge of the command prompt. So when I type in that ping command, it is responsible for running that part of the program. Now when I hit enter on that, it needs to reach out and go to the NIC card and its particular world and find out what the first of all, is 126 the computer I'm looking to ping with, is it out there somewhere? And if it is out there, what's its MAC address? Because we can't talk to it directly and do that test unless we know its MAC address. So the very first thing it does is that it sends out a packet of data with all F's at the beginning, and it asks, hey, does anyone out there use the alias IP address of this 100.126? And if so, tell me who you are. So when it sent that packet out, the NIC on this side listen, when it saw the all F's, its ears perked up, and it decided to look at the packet and see what it was requesting. It saw the requested IP address, looked in its own table, and saw that it was a match, and replied back to it. And it was able to reply back to it at its very specific MAC address, because that's the only way it could talk to it. Otherwise, it would have to send another all F's back. And it lets it know, hey, I'm that guy you're looking for, and yeah, I go by that address. So this is that very initial handshake back and forth that's critical to realize, and that for every single network device that you have, it has to go through this. Now, once it does this process, each one of these computers will have like a little contacts list, if you will, just like a cell phone, and it will record down that MAC address and say, hey, I know this guy, he's my buddy, and he goes at this IP address, just like it will record down a contact's name and their cell phone number in a cell phone. So that way, the next time it needs to talk to this device over here, it doesn't have to ask, hey, what's your name again? It knows its name already and can talk directly to it. So this is a very important part in understanding the whole process of how it goes back, realizing that every time these communications go between the two devices, that it has to be at a MAC address level. And if we go and look at the sequence of packets here, you see it starts off with the broadcast showing that it's all going to the all Fs. And let me pull this down here. You see it's a destination broadcast, which is all Fs, and it's saying, hey, who's got 126? Tell me. And then it got a reply from the laptop saying, hey, that's me, I'm here. Now when you look at the third one, it is actually the computer is addressing directly the laptop by its proper name here. It's not using its IP address or anything like that. It's the very first thing that it needs to see is this, because it's not seeing all Fs. So, and then the rest of the back and forth where it says hello and it says hello back, hello back, and it does this 4 times in a row, so that you can get a feel for is it a bad connection? Did we only get a couple replies? How long did it take to get the reply, etc., etc. So, but this is the basic communications process to learn and to get down solidly before you move on to anything else. So, all right, and we'll do a summary here in just a bit. Okay guys, we're going to do a summary in the task manager screen here to go over everything. While you're in task manager, go over to the performance tab and then select Ethernet, and then right click in the middle of the screen here and go view network details. And I think this is one of the best tools that you can get anytime you're looking at doing any kind of network troubleshooting, internet troubleshooting. This is all in one spot. Will let you know your state, like are you connected? What kind of connection do you have? Are you actually sending data back and forth? You can see all this. So right now I have my items brought up there. If I bring up my screen here again and I do another packet ping test, you'll see the items add up here as I do them. So let me go ahead and launch that away, and you'll be able to see, hey, I was able to see the entire transaction of what just happened there right here. And so this is a fantastic screen to use anytime you're doing a troubleshooting. Like I said, it's worth its weight in gold. So keep that in mind. That's Task Manager and under the Performance tab. So, okay, I think that's about it for the initial discussion here. Like I said, on the next videos, I'll go over in more detail about the IP addressing and about what the Telex and CSoft devices need. But this is your introduction to IP protocol and network connections. All right, hope this helps, and we'll talk to you soon.